Okay, let's go to this next one. It says cosine negative pi over 12. Ooh, okay, well, I don't really know where pi over 12 is on the circle, so, but maybe I can convert it to degrees and then look at the circle. So let's take negative pi over 12. To convert it, we have to put the pi on not the top, but on the bottom so that it cancels. And then you put 180 on top. And this makes the pi's cancel. And you get negative 180 divided by 12. And oh gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I should have done this beforehand. This gives you negative 15 degrees. Hey, okay. So this is like saying cosine of negative 15 degrees. So we have to find two things that either add or subtract to 15 degrees. So I know that 45 minus 30 is 15 degrees. So, nope, backwards. Cosine 30 minus 45 degrees, because we have to subtract to get a negative 15. Darn. So this means A is going to be my 30, B is going to be my 45. So the formula for something minus something is cosine A minus B equals cosine A cosine B plus sine A sine B. So we're going to have cosine 30, cosine negative 45, plus sine 30, sine negative 45. Okay, but then we're going to use the even odd identities to figure out what cosine of negative 45 is. So let's see here. Cosine of a negative angle is just equal to cosine of the regular angle. So this cosine negative 45 just makes cosine regular 45 plus sine 30, and let's see what sine negative 45 is. Sine of a negative angle is equal to pulling the sine out in front. So this is equal to sine 45, but pulling the negative out in front of the whole thing. So when I pull a negative out, it makes the whole thing minus. And yes, I know we could have just reflected this 45 across the x-axis and done it that way, but I just wanted to practice using those even odd identities. Okay, now let's go. Cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of 45 is square root of 2 over 2. Subtract sine of 30 is 1/2. Sine of 45 is square root of 2 over 2. So this makes square root 6 over 4. And then we're going to minus 1 times square root 2. Minus square root 2. I just kind of skipped some steps because I'm about running out of room. Okay, done with that problem. These aren't that bad. They're kind of pretty. Okay, let's go to this tan 15. Ooh, notice I left a lot of room. Okay, we have to figure out two things that either add or subtract to 15. So I know tan 45 minus 30 is 15, with A being 45 and B being 30. So let me write down the formula for that. Tangent something minus something. Here it is, tangent something minus something. Tan A minus tan B over 1 plus tan A tan B. And I'm just going to go ahead and plug in my numbers. So we're going to have tan 45. You cannot see this. Tan 45 minus tan 30 all over 1 plus tan 45 tan 30. Okay, and out to the side, I'm just going to go ahead and find tan 45 and tan 30. Let's remember that tangent is y over x. So looking at 45 degrees, y divided by x is just 1. Looking at 30, the y value is 1/2 divided by x square root of 3 over 2. That makes 1 over square root of 3. And if I rationalize that, I multiply by a square root 3, top and bottom, and you get square root of 3 over 3. Okay, now we're going to take those two values and plug them into this big old formula. So I'm going to have tan 45, that's 1, minus tan 30, that's this beast, square root 3 over 3, all over 1 plus tan 45, that's 1, times tan 30, that's square root of 3 over 3. Yay. Okay, now I'm going to do a little LCD work. If I multiply, if I try and combine this top right here, my LCD has to be a 3, as in this 1 becomes a 3 over 3. So we get 3 minus square root of 3 all over 3. So watch that again. The way I got that is I multiplied the 1 by 3 over 3, and then I did 3 minus square root of 3, 3 minus square root of 3, all over the same denominator. Now let's work on this bottom. This plain 1 at the beginning is going to have to be 3 over 3. And it's basically going to turn into the same thing. It's going to say 3 plus sign 1 times square root of 3. Square root of 3 all over that same denominator. Okay, now what happens? The denominators cancel. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And we get 3 minus square root 3 all over 3 plus square root 3. But then you're not supposed to have a house in the denominator. So I have to rationalize. And I'm going to multiply by the denominator but an opposite sign, because that'll make a difference of 2 squares and make the house cancel. So I cannot just multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. That's not how life works. Okay, we have to multiply by something called the complex conjugate, which is the denominator but with an opposite sign of this denominator. So multiply. A minus. Okay, now we're going to multiply out the top and the bottom. Let's go. I think I'm just going to kind of organize it over here. Let's multiply the top. I have to FOIL. Oh, jeebus. So we're going to say... I'm trying to get a different color. It's not working. Okay. We're going to say 3 times 3, 9. 3 times negative square root 3, negative 3 square root 3. Because there's like a 1 in front of that house. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Attach the house. Next sucker, negative 1. Square root 3 times 3. So negative 1 times 3 is negative 3 square root 3. And then lastly, Negative 1 square root 3 times negative 1 square root 3. That makes plus, let's see, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. House times house is no house, as in just 3. So let's combine like terms. The 9 and the 3 make a 12. These two houses, when I subtract them, makes minus 6 square root 3. Holy gatos. Let's work on the bottom. 3 times 3, 9. 3 times negative house, negative 3 house. Inside, house times positive 3, positive 3 house. Last, house 3 times negative house 3. Positive times a negative, negative. How times how? No how. Okay, let's see what happens. This 9 minus 3 makes 6. Then these two insides cancel. All right, let's put it all back on top of each other. The top was 12 minus 6 square root 3. The bottom was 6. Now we can Mickey Mouse reduce. What? Algebra 2, what? What can we reduce by here? 2? 3? How about 6? It's the biggest. And you get 12 divided by 6. 2 minus 6 divided by 6. 1 square root 3 all over 6 divided by 6. 1. Hey, we don't need that 1, so it's just 2 minus square root 3. Witchcraft. I'm a G.